Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we give no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers he plucks. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.
Hi, I'm Adam Heath Avitable.
And I'm Sarah.
This is Dating Kinda Sucks, a podcast about dating, sex, and relationships. This week, we'll be talking about moving in with a significant other. Enjoy the show.
And hello there, YouTube. Be sure before you keep watching this video to like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss any new episodes whenever we decide to publish them.
Exactly, whenever it happens. Well, hello, it's October.
Where are you at now? I know, I'm back in Nashville. You're still on the road. It's October. So much has
Forever
changed.
on the road.
At least for me.
Yeah, I am in Duxbury, Massachusetts, which is a nice little part of town, south of Boston. I think it's south of Boston. Anyways, it's a suburb of Boston. And I'm staying at a cousin's place, which, by the way, if you hear any noises while we're recording this episode, this is all my fault because I'm in my cousin's basement and you know, they have a life, so they're upstairs in the kitchen walking around, and it's an old house, so it creaks. So ignore the creaks as we do this episode. But yeah, I'm staying at my cousin's place. He very graciously offered to let me stay at his place for the next few days. They're here for another week, and then I head to New Hampshire. Funny thing, I am staying in what was his daughter's room, which has never been not decorated as his daughter's room. So it's like it's very girly room.
You're staying in a children's room. Currently.
Yes,
in a children's-sized bed, I believe.
Yes, it is a twin bed, and I am a twin bed-sized person, and so it is pretty funny that like if I roll over, I'm gonna fall out of the bed. Luckily, I don't move when I sleep, and it's no problem. And my feet kind of hang over the edge, so like that just anchors me from falling over. I think just having those. Yeah, but that's been interesting. When I first saw the bed, I was like, "How is
no
this?"
dates coming back.
I am not bringing any dates back to my twin bed.
You can barely fit in it, so
Yes.
why would you expect? Yes. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
There is absolutely no way. And yeah, it is a small. I have not slept in a twin bed in. It has been a long time. And so yeah, I know that
you were a wee little lad.
Yes. So yeah, so that's where I am. I'm up here and enjoying it. It's actually going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. So the weather drops.
Yeah.
And then I've been going through my own chaos. I don't think we talked about this last time because I think it's been 3 weeks since our last episode. But yeah, my sunroof got stuck open. I was driving down the New Jersey Turnpike and my sunroof opened and then would not close. So that's been fun. So I've been trying to deal with that. And luckily, there's a friend that I've known through social media for years. I think we've maybe met once, whose dad has a body shop in New Hampshire. So I'm going to be going up to New Hampshire and stopping in there to have it fixed. But I have to have a nice classy tarp wrapped around my car whenever I stop if I'm worried about it raining, because otherwise, obviously then I have a water bed for a car.
So no bringing back dates and
I mean, I'm not fucking anybody in the car. I'm not fucking anybody in the bed. Yep, no, unless they want to get on the hood. That's the only place there's a, I mean, at least the tarp means I can just lay the tarp down anywhere. I mean, like, hey, let's just lay this down in a field and we can fuck in a field. I don't know.
I mean, you could fuck in your car if the weather is ideal.
If the weather's nice, yes. No, I don't want to have sex in my car anyways. That's just I'm too old for that. I'm sorry. It's too much work.
Lots of maneuvering, yeah.
It's too much maneuvering, yeah. There really is there's just not enough like space to really get comfortable in there. It's not worth it. So, yeah, no, the very little action on my end. I have matched with some people that have been pretty interesting to talk to, scheduled some potential things because where I am going to be in New Hampshire and Vermont is pretty close to this whole area, anyways. They're all within like an hour of it's it's not none of it's really that far from the area. So I should be able to meet up with people if I decide to.
Will you though? Is the question.
I don't,
because you said you were going to be in your and I hate that you use this phrase, your suicide shack or whatever the fuck.
Did I say that on air, or was that only
No,
you and
but
I
you've told
talking?
me so many times. I'm like, can you not fucking call it that? Can you just call it the house you will be staying at in Vermont, not
My
the
suicide
barren
shack,
place?
in Vermont that I'm going to. It was something of a few. This is
Stop
just
using that.
a
Stop it.
pure realization that that none of us thought about the fact that it was going to have no furniture. What I'm going up to, if you aren't aware, is I have a relative who has a house, and then next to her house is one she rents out. The tenants move out November 1st, and she's like, "Yeah, you can come stay here while I renovate. I need, I don't want tenants while I renovate, but you can stay there." And none of us thought about the fact that it would be unfurnished. And I talked to her about that. She's like, "Oh, well, I have a chair you can have." So I'm like, "Oh, great! It's gonna be my suicide check. I'm just gonna put that tarp down on the floor, just put my chair
So
right in the
fucked
middle of
up.
it, write my book, and then just blow my brains out all over it.
Adam, stop. We
And
need
then
a
there'll be
trigger
easy
point
cleanup.
for
All I have to
this.
do is just
Stop.
wrap the tarp around my body and just wheel me,
It's
bring
not
me out to
funny.
the woods for the bear just to eat. It'll be a piece of cake. It makes total sense. My suicide shack.
So fucked up. And
I,
moving on from
I'm
that.
too egotistical to kill myself, I promise. And I'm joking about this. It's just me having a dark sense of humor. I
I know,
promise. I
I
promise.
know. That's the disclaimer. Dark sense of humor over there.
Yes. But anyways, once I get up to Vermont, if get some furniture, I would probably maybe date because I'm going to be up there for a few months. It'll be a good time to go on a few dates.
Just a
It's fun.
mattress, though. A mattress that actually fits two people. That's your goal.
Yes. Yes, that's a goal. That's a
And
goal.
then still keep the chair and the tarp. That's fine.
Oh
But
yeah,
at
the
least
chair.
a mattress and maybe one sheet and two
Oh,
pillows.
I have sheets and blankets. I own all that stuff in my car. So like I have two pillows. I have, all types of things. I have my bacon pillow, as you probably saw on my Instagram where I did a photo shoot with the bacon
Ladies
pillow. And
love the bacon
oh
pillow.
yes, yeah. LLTBP. Um,
What is ladies
ladies
love
love the bacon pillow. It's like LL Cool J, but less cool.
a lot less
A
cool.
lot less cool. So that's my life. So we'll be recording while I'm in Vermont for a little bit before we take a winter break. Once I'm up there. But we'll get some episodes while I'm up there as well, I think.
You got nothing else to do. You're gonna be snowed in once the snow starts
That's
kicking
very
in.
true. That is very true. So, how about you? You're back in Nashville.
Yo, my life is a fucking shit show right now, which is why we didn't have an episode come out last week because
Yep.
everything was in boxes still. Honestly, everything is still all over the fucking place. It's been a week since we moved in, exactly. Um, and yeah, it still doesn't feel normal yet, I'm still kind of finding the groove of my work from home schedule when Master of None and I are going to go out on dates and do stuff, but yeah, it's it's not bad to be back in Nashville. It's just like weird kind of settling back into a routine of something and living with another person,
Yeah, and
which we will get into. That's the
I'll
whole
say yeah,
fucking
that's
topic.
that
But
was actually what inspired this week's topic was
like, what the fuck?
something you're actively going through and that I've done in the past, and I figured a lot of people might want some advice about that because especially with prices everywhere, like you almost have to move in with
Well,
somebody.
that was part of it too. Of
Yeah.
if we didn't pull the trigger on something soon, and we had waited until fall because prices obviously a lot of people move over the summer, prices dropped in the fall. But I was like, even if I just look for a 1 bedroom or a studio, it's so much more a month than if I did a 2 bedroom with him. Or
Hmm.
we were never going to do a 1 bedroom together. And honestly, that was the right call because now we're on very different sleep schedules
Right.
and
Right.
happy that we chose that. At first I was skeptical, but yeah, it's not even worth it if you're just renting a 1 bedroom. Try to get a roommate if you can or if you want to, because save a lot more money.
Yes, absolutely. Um, and so you moved in. What else did you have? You obviously you had to move back to Nashville. You had a wedding that you went to.
We went to yeah, so I guess there have been fun things outside of the shit show
Yeah,
the
yeah.
past couple of days, I guess. Yeah, so we went to a wedding together. My brother got married a couple weeks ago, and that was fun. And all of my extended family got to meet Master of None, which is nice. And I knew it was going to go well. And he got to really see my family in full force, no filtered,
So
alcohol
he met
flowing.
your mom.
He met my mom. Well, he's already met my mom and dad and my dad's girlfriend, but he
Wait,
hasn't
when?
over the summer in July when I was in Florida and he came down to Florida. He ended up meeting them then.
Oh, I don't think I even realized.
Yeah.
Maybe we talked about that. I guess I didn't think about that. Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't want it to be the wedding as the first
Yeah.
encounter with so many other things going on. So
Your
we
mom
had
is a hoot. I'm like I'm
my mom's
I,
a lot, and I so felt bad for him because we had dinner the first night when we got into St. Louis, just him, my mom, and I, and he's just kind of sitting there. My mom's just kind of spouting off. Margaritas are flowing, and she's getting super fucking expensive margaritas with specialty tequila, make it skinny, all this shit. I'm sitting there, I'm like, Mom, can you just not tonight? Can you just not? But he understands where my mom comes from with things. He's
right.
like, good old Ange, like that's just my mom. She's fun.
Well, and
But
because he's kind of quiet, and so like she definitely will dominate a
yes,
conversation.
yes, yeah, and I wanted him to kind of speak up a little bit, but I just
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
it was like my mom and I were bonding over stuff, and he was just kind of eating his tacos in the corner, just like this is fine, I don't really need to do all the talking. So, but overall we had a fun weekend. I don't know, after I had some like other drama in my life right before the wedding, and he was really there for me, and I have really
That's good.
leaned on him since that. So I don't know, I just feel like our relationship got really strong right around the wedding, and then it was just really nice to be like all coupled up, and all of my extended family had messaged me after the fact saying, you look so happy, and so happy with him, I'm so happy for you. And they've
That's
kind of seen
good.
me go through the ringer of dating people and whatnot, and just to be able to meet him and then I guess see how happy I was, even though being a fucking bridesmaid is fucking stressful and you can't
Oh,
enjoy the wedding
I
as
hate
much as
that shit.
everybody else. I felt like I was stressed and looking pissed off, but everyone else said I seem super fucking happy and energetic. So I guess that's good. But I am really happy. And yeah, the wedding was fun.
And this is the first wedding you guys have gone to together, right?
Right. And then we have
So
another
did
wedding.
he wear just like a t-shirt with like a naked woman on it or something to the wedding? And did he actually
No.
dress up?
So he has really nice clothes. I will say he has,
Yeah.
I think we talked about it of who has more expensive shoes. He has definitely more expensive shoes than I. He was like, what's the price tag on your most expensive shoe? I was like, I don't know. It used to be a lot when I cared about designer labels, but maybe now like $60, something like that. And he was going on about, well, these shoes had to be around 200, this and whatever. And they're very nice. He's still got the fucking box. They're all like, put together and whatnot. And mine's just thrown in the fucking back of this closet, and it
Right.
is what it is. But yeah, he looked really nice,
He
and
did dress
he
up. Well, I just know that him not like I know he likes to dress very casually, so I didn't know if he actually put the effort in because you were going to a wedding, because he was going to a wedding.
he had joked about wearing the one shirt with the woman with the finger in her mouth or
Right.
whatever. And he's like, "Can I wear this? Can I wear this to hang out with your family?" And I said, "Please do not. Please refrain. Just this one time. You can wear it any other fucking time, not wedding weekend." But
Yeah.
yeah, and then it was kind of crazy because we got back to Nashville, so it's about a 5-hour drive back from St. Louis to Nashville, and we realized we didn't really have a place to stay, so we rented an Airbnb, and I swear to God, it was the shittiest Airbnb. And I let him book it because he was like, "Well, I'll have a plan. We could either stay here, here, or here." And he booked the Airbnb. All was fine, and then we walked into the place, and I just turned to him and was like, "This is not the best, but we will make the best of it." And I at that point I was just ready to move in. So I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah.
happy we have our space now and we're getting settled in.
I showed you I had the cute little Airbnb in Central Mass that I was in for a week. But the bathroom was like the size of a closet. Didn't I show
I
you that?
remember
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
showing me that.
And
Yeah.
like the sink was like this little weird rectangle that I could barely like trying to shave. I couldn't even like get my razor barely in the sink. I couldn't fit my hands in there to while like it was such a weird like it was a yeah it was a really weird rectangle. Like it wasn't so and the shower itself
But
was
it
this
looked nice. So
it
that's
looked
how
really cute. The rest
yeah.
of it was gorgeous. It's just that room, the shower was the size of a phone booth. Like every time I turned around, I was hitting all four walls of the shower. Like it was absolutely
So
insane. Like
tiny mattresses and tiny showers are not your vibe. Got it.
yeah, I think sometimes these people, everybody who has Airbnb, none of them are taller than like 5'8", and none of them weigh more than 180 pounds. I think is really the problem. Nobody does this for big and tall. There should be a big and tall Airbnb,
Mm.
Airbnb B and T or something like that. There we
What is
go.
up with your acronyms
I
tonight?
don't know. I don't know.
BNT,
I'm
LL, whatever you said earlier.
I'm hungover. I went out with my cousin last night. So my
There
cousin,
it is.
yeah, he and his wife, yesterday was holiday, so they were off, and they're like, hey, let's go out to the coast. You can see the Plymouth and all that, and so we went out there at like 3 and stopped at a place for like late lunch and some drinks, and then continued like, oh, you want to see a dive bar? Let's go check out dive bars. So we went to dive bars and
Your jam.
continued drinking all night until it was like 10 or 11, and then I was the corrupting influence here because they know how to party, very much so, but I was the one who got everyone to get like, hey, let's go to McDonald's afterwards, and then we all ended up with like greasy
I'm not
fast
shocked.
food afterwards. Yeah, but it was yeah, it took me some time to recover. I have still not recovered,
Still,
so
yeah, if
my
you're
brain
still
is,
struggling the night after, yeah,
yeah,
what the fuck?
getting old is what
Grow
the
up.
I
Grow the
know.
fuck up.
Well, I haven't been drinking either. That's the thing. I haven't been drinking. I haven't really been, at most a drink when I go out, and I haven't been going out much. I've been trying to save my money, and yeah, so it's really, it hits me a lot harder now. This shit,
Well,
I know. Just can't wait till I get to my suicide shack. I can set up my
stop
bar there and
calling it that, Adam. Stop it. Oh my God. Uh,
um,
one other thing with moving in, just because this
yes,
has
yes,
actually happened today, not to derail from your suicide shack conversation, whatever the fuck you're gonna say. I feel like right now my biggest struggle is, and this is not new news, that I'm not really I'm no chef. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I'm no fucking
right,
I was
right.
gonna
No,
say I'm not really, but let's be real.
no.
I'm no chef. But I don't want to
You
feel useless in the
Yeah,
kitchen,
you
you know?
cook a basic meal. Like I've watched you. We've talked during your lunch when you make rice and shit. We know, like you cook, know how to
It's
cook a
simple shit.
normal
Yeah,
meal. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna make anything fucking fancy or follow any fucking recipe. I eat the same 5, 6 dishes, whatever, and obviously Master of None doesn't. But I just feel useless in the kitchen right now because we just made dinner and I don't know, I just feel in the way, or he's cooking for 2, but it's a one person kind of job and I'm just kind of standing there and I don't know.
You're
And
gonna have to learn just to sit on the couch with a beer in your
I
hand
just
and then
feel
your hand down your
guilty.
pants and just watch TV until dinner is served and just be like, "Hun, is dinner ready yet?"
But I
And then
think
scratch
that's
your
so
balls and then get up and eat dinner. Like
ugh, I
that's
don't
the
want to.
role.
Sorry, well, I don't have balls to scratch, number 1. And number 2, I just feel guilty about it, but every time I try to kind of get in there and cut something up or whatever, I think I'm in the wrong or I'm in the way, and then I'm not in the wrong, but I'm not doing it as correct as he would prefer, you know?
Right.
He's like, "You could be doing it this way." And I just kind of look at him like, "Shut the fuck up." Like just let me fucking cut this goddamn tomato. Unless I ask, hey, what is the best way to do this? Obviously, he is the resource for all things kitchen and kitchen supply and how to
Yeah.
store things and whatever. But I'm more fly by the seat of your pants of I'm gonna put a half cut lemon on a plate and store it in the fridge. and
Sure.
he's like, why don't you put that in a closed container? And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna cut it in the morning. It's just gonna sit there. I don't really care. And little things like that irritate
Right.
him. And I'm compromising. I'm like, I'll do it the right way. But yeah, even just are we cooking meals together every single night? Obviously, I right now he got a job, so he's not working from home right now. But so I'm doing breakfast and lunch on my own, fine, whatever. And then dinner, I keep asking, are we going to do it together? I have frozen food in the fridge. I can make that. And he doesn't really want to eat the frozen food that I bought
Right.
either.
Right.
He would rather cook something that he planned on. So it's a weird thing of am I ever going to eat the frozen food I want to eat? Not that saying his food is bad, but what I don't know. And I'd like to, and I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying I'm a cook, but I would like to kind of be the point person one night to make something to feel useful. Cause I feel like a moocher right now of I'll just sit on the couch or sit on my phone at the countertop while you cut up all that shit and
It's
stir
okay. You're
some
there. You're
shit in a
providing
fucking
company and moral support while he does it. You're not taking him for granted. I was joking about that earlier. But like you're not taking him for granted. You can sit there and just appreciate, talk, have a conversation with him and talk about things while he
I
cooks
just don't want
dinner.
it to snowball of like you have these roles in the house, you have whatever roles in the house, and I also don't want to just sit there all the time either. I would like to be more involved.
Well, you could also maybe want to, like, they'll be nice
And
when you
I've
guys
said
will be
that.
like, let's move sushi, let's make sushi together and stuff like that, where you guys will do it together. But maybe when it comes to like cooking a meal, you just let him cook. It's something he enjoys doing.
I know, it just annoys me. It's already annoying me of
I
damn,
know.
I mean, I would like to it's stupid things if I just feel like a child in the kitchen. And like I said, I'm no fucking chef, but I can open a jar or cut a couple things and not need the guidance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And
he
that
probably
just
just doesn't want you in there. He's like, let me just handle it and to make sure
uh,
everything's done the way he wants it for the meal that he wants to cook for his girlfriend and himself. Be prepared the way he wants to
just
prepare and present it to
discourages
you.
me. Like I would like to be more involved, but I feel like I keep asking, "Do you need me to do anything? Do you need me to do?" And if he says yes, then I'll jump right in. And when he says no, I keep thinking, "Is he going to be mad that I'm not helping out?" Like it's just like this guilt that I have of if I just sit here on my phone, is he going to be mad that I'm not involved? Because I think if roles were reversed, I might be a little mad if it was every single night. You know, if it was something where I wanted to cook in this meal, it wouldn't be an issue. But if it was every single night of him cooking, which has been the case for the past week, either we've
Yeah,
eaten out a couple times, but every other meal he's planned and
that'll
cooked, and
that'll
I just
eventually
sat in it.
fade too over time. I think
I'm more
it'll slow down
sensitive
a
right
little
now
bit.
because it's new. You think?
Well, and I think he'll also probably won't be cooking as much all the time. Like right now, it's a new kitchen, like it's exciting, and there'll be times where he's just like, heat up leftover or whatever. There'll be things, but
Yeah.
you can also help by like doing the dishes, like you do cleanup.
Well, what do you think I do during the day? Because I'm working from home, I'll run the dishwasher. I'll make sure the
Oh,
kitchen is
that's
clean
good.
so when he gets home. But I mean, there's
That's a
definitely
good division of
I
labor
know
right
there's
there.
there's balance and yes, there's a division of labor, but I don't know, all of the cooking during a certain meal, I don't know. I don't feel like that should rest on one person. I don't think he cares. I'm probably thinking way too much about it, but I just
Yes.
I'm trying to pre-plan out where we're gonna have fucking fights. And I think that that's going to be one of them.
You're like, all right, so I've got a potential fight scheduled for right before dinner on Thursday.
3 weeks from now, we're probably
Yeah.
gonna fight about this. So let me plan out how to avoid that fight or yeah,
Oh my God.
I
That's
know.
yeah.
And it's
I think this
terrible.
is all going to be something we're going to get into in the second
Oh
half
yeah,
as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, this is just what I've experienced tonight of,
Tonight only.
okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, then we are going to get into that. Before we break for our second half, I do have one quick thing. There was a TikTok follower who asked for some advice and asked if I would address it on the podcast. I told her yes, and then completely promptly forgot.
Good for
So
you. Good
here
for
we
you.
are a month later, where I'm like, oh, I should finally fucking do this because I feel terrible. But anyway, she asks, I predominantly date men. As someone who's experienced sexual assault, rape, and just your everyday asshole slash misogynist, do you have any advice for those of us who feel demoralized or hesitant to date when you want to get out there, but it just doesn't feel worth it? So, what would
I'd
you
say
say?
just don't date then
Yeah,
and just focus on you. There's no force saying you have to date right now. And if you're
right.
not feeling the vibe with any man, don't fucking date.
Yeah, I mean, dating is supposed to be fun.
Right.
Dating is not an obligation. It's not like, you don't have to date. You shouldn't feel pressure to date. If you're not in the mood and you just don't feel like it's really worth it right now, or you're hesitant, or you're just like everything out there feels like too much pressure, whatever the reason is, if dating's not fun, then don't do it. It should be a fun experience, and you should wait until it feels like a fun thing again. Like, oh, you know what? Now I'm ready to go. I want to go out with somebody, and that's really the way to approach it.
Yeah, because when you're swiping on the apps and you're running into asshole after asshole after asshole, of course you're not going to feel excited to finally meet up with somebody in person because all your conversations, the bulk of them have been with shitty individuals that
Yeah.
are just knocking you down along the way. So, and we had a whole episode on taking a dating detox, and I stand by that of when you're starting to feel blah about dating, don't fucking date.
Yeah,
Actually,
that was a
there's
good
so many other
episode.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many other things to focus on. Dating doesn't have to be one of them. You spend so
Yes.
much time anyways on apps and meeting up and whatever. Free up your schedule to just focus on you.
Yeah, just go take yourself out on dates, and
Absolutely.
go out to dinner. You don't need to have somebody else with you. And yeah, maybe check out that episode. Which you can find it. Like you can go like datingkindasucks.com and just Google or like search through our website for detox and find that episode. Or of course you can search through like Spotify and everything just for dating kind of sucks detox. And I think it'll probably come up as one of the episodes because it was from
It was a while
it
ago,
was like
but
a
it
year
was
and a half ago, I think. Yeah.
yeah. What is time anymore? But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What is time?
It's almost 2022 at this point, which is
Oh,
wild to
fuck.
say.
Yeah.
I know. Like
So,
Christmas break's coming up and Thanksgiving and wait, I feel like it just became 2021, but that's pretty much everybody, I think.
hmm Yeah. So yeah, and if you do have questions that you want brought up on in any episodes, you can always email us at datingkindasuckspodcast@gmail.com. You can also message one of us through any of our social media as well.
DM us, baby.
I've been doing the TikTok's actually been doing pretty well. I have not been banned in 2 weeks straight. I have not been banned yet. So
Wow, we should have a celebration
I
for you
know
because
because it
that's very rare.
feels like once a week I'm getting banned for 3 days and then I can't, and I
I
can't do
keep
anything.
asking you, you're like, "Oh, well, I can't get on TikTok to see your TikToks you've
Yeah.
sent me," or, "Oh, I can't respond to this yet, but when I can, I will," and
Yeah.
wow.
I know, it's amazing. I started a new technique, which is block everybody. That's really what it is now. So now, when I stitch somebody who's like a shitty person, I'm going to stitch them and call them out for shitty behavior. I block them because the message isn't really for them; it's for other people to see that their behavior is shitty. So I block them so they can't report it for harassment or bullying either. And I think that has helped. And then anybody that annoys me, anybody that comments that I'm annoyed by, I delete their comment and block them. I'm just like, I no longer am going to allow shitty people to have any type of emotional toll on my day, So that's my new rules.
That's how it needs to be in the real world and the digital social media world, so
It'd be great if you just go up to somebody like you don't like and just be like block, and just like
that's a whole Black Mirror episode.
it is, and I love it. I wish that technology existed. It would be great to have people you just didn't see anymore. They became blurry.
I don't
I'd
know,
be
that one made me sad a little bit, but
they all had sad
that's
drama,
true.
yeah.
They're all
um,
slightly depressing.
and while you're depressed, why not take a break and then we'll
Oh
be
my god.
we've had Black
You
Mirror
have
episodes,
very sick jokes
suicide
today
shacks.
already.
I know,
Okay.
I know it's terrible. It's getting winter, just getting darker and darker as we go.
We'll see how this progresses as you stay in Vermont for the
Yes,
3
it'll,
months of winter.
it'll be interesting that to say the least. I'm gonna have to remember and it's funny. What is the thing that I'll need to keep up to make myself feel better? What is because then you always tell me that you can tell what I need to do more when I
You need to fix your beard, fix your face. You have
Yep,
to
that's
dye
really
the
what it is.
beard,
Like
you gotta get
when
it
I
trimmed, you gotta
shave my head and dye my beard, I immediately feel better. Like it's like this weird thing that happens, and so it is something that I have been trying to make sure I maintain. Is that it's like a mood booster. So
That's how I feel about doing my hair. If my hair's done, I'm like, I can do TikToks today. I can get
yeah,
ahead of some extra work. I have a good vibe. Then I'll just put on a better outfit. It's really just small things
yeah,
that kind of snowball into, okay, well, I'm having a fucking great day now.
exactly. All right, well then let's go ahead and take a break,
No
and then we'll
depression. Come back
no
after the
depression, happiness, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
There's a lot that goes into moving in with a partner, and there's a lot of changes that happen. But I think it's best to start off with when is the right time to determine that you're ready to move in with a partner? Because that is a big milestone for a relationship. And it's not something that you can just wake up one day and go, I think we're going to move in together. I know a lot of people probably do that.
Yeah, I think some
But
people do
I
that, but
think
it might not be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think there's a better way to approach it to go, let's plan this out.
Right.
Did you actually have any planning before with Amy?
Well,
Was that before the engagement, or what was your timeline of we're deciding we're moving and what did that look like?
so I rented when I moved to St. Louis for law school. I rented a small little studio apartment that was just this little shithole. I had a futon in the like you walked in the front door and that's the whole apartment, like basically. And so it was close to school, and then Amy had a place that was kind of a little further away, and both of us had our lease ending in June.
Ah,
So we started dating in October, and then I think by probably November, December. No, it was after Christmas. It was after Christmas. I just started spending so much time with her that I just ended up,
that's fast.
yeah, I ended up just kind of staying there all the time. And so I still had my place, but I just ended up just staying there all the time. And then in
Yeah.
June, but then I think probably by February or March, we started looking for places together. So it was fast, but it also just we were always together. And she had a little 2-bedroom place, and so I had, and I would go back occasionally and do stuff on my computer. You know what? I just remembered this. This is crazy. So I
You
just fucking
always
remember.
do this. You always
Yeah,
randomly remember shit. And I'm
I
like, did
just
you
remember.
plan
Like,
this and just not
no,
fucking
no,
tell me?
I just remember. So I just remembered that she would get upset because she wanted me there, and I'd be like, I need to go back to my place, and it was for a few reasons. Like I wanted to go back to poop, number one.
I feel that. Yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
but but also I was like, my computer was there with all my video games and everything. Like everything I had was there. And so I should have seen that as a red flag way back then, honestly, that she was like already like codependent to that level. But she's like, why can't you just stay here? I was like, well, my computer. And she's like, do you need work? Do you have work you have to do? I was like, well, no, but I want to like
You want to play your
I want to
games
do
and
things. I
relax.
also had like a blog that I was working on, and all this stuff, and so like I wanted to go like have my alone time, and she didn't understand that. So there were some times where she would get a little frustrated by that, and I think that was one of the reasons that we decided to move in together, was because then we'd be together, and she wouldn't feel lonely. But she would feel lonely that I would disappear for her, and I'd be like, I'll see you tomorrow, and I would leave like in the early afternoon, and I would have my night to myself for once. And I had
And she didn't
completely,
like
literally
that.
forgot about that. She did not like that. No,
Yeah, that's
but
kind of a big detail to leave out. I don't think you've ever mentioned that.
I honestly, it just completely was not something that until it like popped into my brain, like, oh, do you remember this, Adam? And it was, and it just, I was like, but
Plus, it
it
was
was one.
very fast. You guys
It was very
were only
fast.
dating maybe 4 months, and then
Yeah,
were already starting to look at apartments. That's so quick.
I think at that point we'd already said that if we make it through law school together, we'd get married. I think
That's
at that point as
fucking
well.
wild.
But yeah, but I also, so this is another thing, is my car ended up having trouble, and so she gave me hers so I could go to work because I worked at the school as well. And so then I would use her car, go pick her up every morning to take her to class. And then we would have her car to go do things. And then I would, so I like, so I like, she like trusted me with that very early on. And so that was the whole thing too. So then it was just like, it just makes more sense for us to live together, and everything. We all, it just all of it just kind of fell into place, and it seemed logical, although it saved money, as well. So like there were plenty of things that were good things about it.
I mean, there's definitely the benefit of saving money, but I think you have to have those tryout stages of
Yeah.
knowing that you like it. And I don't think you guys had that enough to go,
I mean, I
this
was
is going to work.
21 and she was 23. Neither of us were really, we're very well versed in any of this stuff either. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
We were young, and yeah, we didn't talk about like, can
Did
we
you
live
want to get
together?
married?
We
Did
didn't
you,
like.
I guess
I
you
mean, we mentioned
talked,
maybe.
mentioned it. Yeah. But it
Yeah,
wasn't like what do we want our relationship to look like in 3 years, or in 2 years? What do
yeah,
you want to do with your life? You
nothing
didn't
like
have
that.
that.
It was basically, yes, we should. Like, I essentially started living at her place, and then we both moved into our own place together that we found, and we found a 2 bedroom, 2 bath as well. That was our place to, that's what I wanted. So I had my own little office and stuff like
Makes sense.
that. But yeah, that happened very quickly, and it was probably not the best idea, because it was immediate. I was just living at her place pretty much.
Yeah, see, I think that's how a lot of people get into that situation of, well, I'm spending so much time at their place now, or vice versa.
Yeah,
And then the next logical thing is, well, someone's lease is up. It's time to move in. And I think for Master of None and I, luckily we had more of a timeline for
yeah,
that, because we knew when we met, I had just re-signed my lease for a whole other year. So we knew, and that wasn't even something we discussed early on dating of, my lease is up in this time frame. But when it started getting closer, that was the conversation of, okay, well, Master of None wasn't spending a lot of time at my place just because of
right.
COVID and everything, but we did talk about long-term relationship goals of making sure we're on the same page with that. And I also think it's important too. Did you or Amy talk about your fears of living with one another? It sounds like you guys were just flying by
No.
the seat of your pants of, this is what we're doing, that there was no planning aspect of it.
I think it was just, we would, after class every day, after law school, after classes got out, we would go do things for the day. Like, hey, let's go explore here. We would take road trips or whatever, and then end up back at her place, and then just, stay over, go to sleep. And then, it just kind of became this, why are you like paying rent for somewhere when you're here all the time anyways? And her place was bigger than mine. Mine was, she had an actual apartment versus my shitty thing. And yeah, it was just, so it was like, it really was just like, oh, well, I guess it just makes sense. And I honestly had no concepts of what was, I was trying to hide it from my parents. I remember that. So I remember
That
that
you guys
having,
were moving in together
yeah. And I
because you didn't
remember,
want to alarm them.
well, they finally it's funny, when I told them that I was moving, I was like, that we're moving in together. We got an apartment together. My mother's like, yeah, no shit. Like, I've noticed that because I said I've been, I kind of been staying over at her place anyways. My mother's like, yeah, that's why you never answer your phone. Because of course it wasn't we didn't have cell phones. So I had an actual
Ah.
phone at my place, and so yeah, there's like, I was never there to answer the calls. But yeah, it just kind of just happened. It was just, I'm always over there. Why not? And nobody wanted to stay at my place. Like it was so shitty. It wasn't her. She never wanted to like switch off because number
Right.
one, the futon was not comfortable. Even though that's the first place I ever had sex was with her on that futon, and it was fucking
No way. I
terrible.
was
Oh, on
gonna
a
ask.
fucking futon. Yeah, it was
And you're
awful.
complaining about that twin size bed you're
Oh yeah,
sleeping.
yeah. I know. Yeah. But I was much younger and willing to try things like a futon, but it was such a bad futon. It was so uncomfortable. I don't know how I slept on it as like as a bed. Like that was my bed. What the fuck was I thinking? And then the bathroom was so bad the toilet actually touched the radiator. So the left side of the toilet, like if you're sitting on the toilet, the left side was the radiator was flush up against it. So you had to sit sideways on the toilet. And if you didn't have like a tiny butt in the winter, you would
Which you do
basically
not, I'm
no,
assuming.
I know. You'd essentially scald your ass because you like that radiator was a radiator that would work in the winter, and so it would be turned on.
Oh
You had no
my
control over it,
God.
so you would literally be scalding your ass every time you sat on the toilet. Yeah, it was fucking awful. So nobody wanted to stay there. I didn't blame her.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and I
mean,
didn't want to be there. So it was a bad situation. So it was like I was ready to get out and go to somewhere else.
yeah. It was just the timing was a little fast, I think. I think you need to
Yes. Oh,
just
it was.
plan it out. If you're considering moving in with a partner, you need to have the conversation of what are we doing long term? And let's spend more time if you're not doing it already. Let's spend more time in each other's space. Stay with me for a couple weeks or whatever. And I think that was kind of what solidified it with me and Master of None
Mhm.
was when we went to Maine, it was just the two of us in each other's space. We were
Right.
doing a lot of traveling and it was just us two. So we got a good vibe on top of, all the weekends he was spending at my place as well. But just for a long consecutive period of I'm not gonna kill this person after 7 days.
Right.
That's good. That's a good thing. Maybe we can try for another couple weeks and then see if this conversation about living together comes up.
Yes, I would say that is the one thing I did do right was that we did try it out because I was basically staying with her so much that we got to know each other's idiosyncrasies, like and like eventually like she knew that like I like my bathroom time. Like when it's time for me to go get showered or whatever, like I'm gonna be in there for an hour. Just nobody come in, leave me alone. I'm gonna take my time. Like she learned that, and then I learned her terrible cooking, and like she was awful in the kitchen, and so I would take over all that, which is funny that you
And you
guys are
didn't
talking about
mind
that.
though. You didn't mind.
Not at all. But it's funny that we're talking about this. So like, and I was about to say that I was young, so maybe now that I'm older, I would look at it a little more objectively. But Tinkerbell basically moved in almost immediately when she and I first started talking. She came over one time, didn't really have anywhere to, she went down to Fort Myers, and then I drove down and picked her up, and she basically was living with me for
I
that
remember
entire
that.
period. That for like what, couple months, 3 months. That was almost instant. Like as soon as we started to hang out with each other, she was basically living there.
I don't think that's a good call
No,
though.
I'm saying that maybe we should just listen to Sarah in this episode and not listen to Adam because Adam does not make the wisest choices when it comes to these things.
I mean, I somewhat feel like Master of None and I pulled the trigger on moving in, but we had had enough time to develop our relationship and talk about what we wanted
Yeah.
and what our schedules were going to be like. So we kind of already knew going in what the situation would be. For example, he stays up late. He likes his alone time with video games. I didn't need to learn that. I already knew that after dating him for a year and a half. I already know.
Right, right.
He's gonna play games with his boys and his family, and I'm totally fine with that because I get my space too.
Right, right. Which is good. And that's so you guys did it right. You guys really kind of tested it. You talked about it. You kind of planned it. And then of course you weren't excited for it, which is already a problem. That was part of it too.
Well, I'm thinking boxes to check of we
Yeah.
packed up our shit, we've moved, it's done, whatever. And even just our first weekend in the place, I think we both wanted to celebrate and just be like, yeah, we're in our place now. Yeah, big milestone. But I couldn't get past the stack of boxes and all the trash everywhere
Right,
from
right.
moving. And I just turned and was like, we just need to order food in and unpack this shit for the next couple hours. It's not going to be fun. We got to get work done first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone's got to be that person, I guess.
So would you say that people really obviously like you said before you learn if you're in the right space to move in with somebody first? That's obviously our
Mm.
first takeaway on this is that take the time to assess it before you pull that trigger.
Pre-planning, yes.
Yes, the pre-planning, checking those boxes, like Sarah says. Now
And then,
what?
oh, now what? Ooh, now what?
Yes,
Well, there's a million other. This is when it gets fucking all over the place, I think.
yes,
There's so many, like you mentioned, you're learning what they like and what they don't like. But I think the obvious things are household responsibilities of who does what. Money is a big one.
yeah.
And then for me anyways, it's decorating the space. There's other ones on there like sleeping schedule, but those are probably the big four ones of what's their day look like, how do they
Yeah.
want the space decorated, and I don't know. Did you and Amy, we could start with household chores and responsibilities. Was it just kind of assumed, or did you guys talk about
We
what was going to be split up, or
we never really talked about it. I think we kind of I did a lot of the cooking. She did some cooking, but we ate out quite a bit too. And we agreed early on to pool our money and hire a house cleaner. So
oh, okay.
we had somebody come every 2 weeks to clean even in law school, clean our apartment. And then when we moved in LA, we had somebody there as well. So yeah, I think it was one of those things. I feel like I don't honestly
It's a
remember who.
non-issue because
Yeah, it was one of those things when we moved, from LA to Orlando, I was working from home all the time because I had ran my business out of the house. So I was like, I would throw laundry in while I was there, and then but she would end up usually folding it all and everything. Half the time, she would get up so early in the morning that while I was still asleep, she would do half the things that needed to be done just because she was like just running around the house. Was on the phone talking to her mom or something like that, and would just like do stuff. But um we never really set down, here's what you do, here's what I do. We had a lawn service, so like I never had to worry about
that's
mowing the
good.
lawn. Like we were just spoiled fucking people is basically what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a list either. I think we've talked about I like my place to be kept up a certain way. And same thing now that I'm working from home, I'm just kind of gonna run the dishwasher, throw a load of clothes in. The one thing I will say is clothes for me having specific dry clean only or certain drying things, I don't really want him touching my laundry. I think it's nice if he wants to do a load of towels or my gym clothes, but if it's some of my nicer pieces, I know what needs to get thrown in the dryer and what needs to get, laid out or whatever that
Yeah.
I'm afraid. And I know because he did this like over the summer when we were testing it out, and he was just being super nice and just putting a load in. And then I was like, wait, did you put that whole fucking thing in the dryer? He's like, yeah. Why wouldn't I? Was like, oh my God, run to the dryer. So I think that's something too. If you're gonna split up chores or someone's gonna do this, you
Oh
gotta
yeah.
address that, at least for certain types of clothing.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's something that we also had that happen as well. Where I was doing laundry and then I ended up drying something of hers that was not supposed to be dried.
Strange.
And oh yeah, yeah, it was ruined. But over time, I learned which pieces, and essentially I would like realize that I could, essentially her bras and underwear could be fine with the dryer, and then pretty much everything else of all of her other clothing, because all she bought was like she would fly to Los Angeles like once a month for these sample sales, like on Fridays, where like the off the rack from the fat, like all the
Oh
like
wow.
yeah, yeah, because she was the size that she'd be able to wear stuff right off the rack, like it was the model size, because she was like 5'10" and like 127 or whatever. So like she basically like fit the stuff. So she had everything was like name brand, like major stuff. And
Yeah, you ain't touching any of that
I
shit. Don't fuck
learned
it
that
up.
none of that should be, dried. So I would wash everything on cold in separate, like would have it separate. I'd know how to wash it all. And then I would hang it all up dry, in the laundry room. Like she would hang it to hang dry for most of her stuff. But I did fuck up in the beginning, and there was a fight about it because I was just trying to help and, never realized that. Because
Yeah.
all my shit, I mean, I put it all together, like towels, underwear, everything, blacks, whites, it doesn't matter. It all goes in the same load. So
Yeah. I think it's nice that at least from my experience, like you and Master of None were just trying to be nice and be helpful, but then it's like, well, I have to teach you how to do this, or just don't
yeah.
be involved in this.
It's funny so there's a whole thing. There's this phenomenon called strategic incompetence. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay, so it's when men pretend to be completely incompetent at things so they don't have to do it. Like, men who like take the trash out, but they don't ever put a new trash bag in because they're so emotionally immature, they're incapable of learning or trying to do things and they don't want to do it. So they like children, they basically it's like a
They'll
kid,
half-ass it
hey,
on
you need to clean up
purpose.
your toys, and the kid like, half-ass does it so he doesn't have to do it, doesn't do it right. And so like laundry could be one of those things where if you have a partner and you see that like they're not trying to help, they're actually continuously fucking up. I can tell you, and Master of None can also, do this. It's not that hard to learn. It really isn't that hard to learn. And like I remember the first time Mimi laughed because I tried to fold all of her thongs because I was like folding my underwear. Of course, it took like 20 of her thongs was still smaller than one pair of my boxer
Right.
briefs, But like, I was trying to fold them nicely and she just like, no, that's fine. Just like toss, you can toss them in the drawer, and that's okay. But then
Well,
like
I'm trying to
but
be
then
helpful.
Oh yeah, I know, right? But then I learned, and then I learned that like how to make sure her laundry was done right. It does not take a lot of effort. So if you have a man who is purposely not learning, that's a red flag. That's actually something to consider.
Mm. See, my big hang up, and this is something I think is important when it comes to household chores. I've been very vocal of I fucking hate doing these things around the house. How do you feel about them? And the best part is Master None doesn't mind doing. I don't mind running the dishwasher and putting
Right.
dishes in the dishwasher and taking them out. But if it's bigger pieces and stuff that requires a lot of scrubbing and all that other shit, I'm either gonna leave it in the sink overnight to do it in the morning, which he hates, or
Yeah.
I just will pass it to him and he's totally fine with it. But we had that conversation of I fucking hate doing X, Y, and Z in the house. Please tell me you like doing these things. Or, I'll just do them, but let me
Who
see if I
likes
can
who
pass
likes
off
cleaning
work.
bathrooms?
I don't mi actually, I don't mind it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. We haven't well, because 'cause we've only been here a week, we haven't really
Yeah,
run
yeah.
into that. He's noticed, "Yeah, your counters are, like, cleaner and just whatever than mine," but he just has shit still sitting everywhere, but I think that will be determined later,
Yeah.
but at least kitchen-wise, I think kitchen is really the big sticking point for us right now,
Oh
but
yeah, absolutely. You think so?
yeah.
Maybe just a little bit.
But I think just talk about what you like and don't like, and then divvy it up or see where you can help out. That's an easy solution.
And even if there's something that neither of you like, somebody's got to, you can
Yeah, you gotta
alternate,
trade off.
alternate on it, and that's okay too.
Yeah. As far as decorating the space goes, that's a whole nother fucking can of worms that I don't know. This is my thing. I don't know if anyone else really experiences this with their partner because I just assumed Master of None wouldn't fucking care from the start. And I know I've mentioned it in past
How
episodes.
prejudiced of you to think that.
I
Just
know that's really
assume.
fucked, right? That's super fucked that I'm the woman. I get to style everything. But all of my friends are like, yeah, you'll just pick out everything you want. But that has not been the case. And he really likes silver as the accent color on different materials. He likes geometric shapes. And I like gold and bright pinks and not muted stuff. So even something as simple as on Saturday, picking out a fucking runner rug for our entry, I
Right.
I'm looking at a checklist. Like I said, I got to get all this shit done so I feel
Yeah.
like we're moved in. And all I wanted was I was going to run to the store, pick up a rug I saw online and bring it back. And I was just going to do it. And he said, yeah, yeah, that's fine. Pick out whatever rug you like. And I think he was being too nice about it. And then I showed him what the rug was. And he was like, I could just tell he was biting his tongue not to say anything. And he was like, do you want to look at other ones? I was like, okay, you don't fucking like it. Okay, just fucking tell me you don't fucking like it. What would you prefer? And then we spent, it turned into this bigger project of 30 minutes of scrolling through rugs and seeing which one we liked. And then we came to something, but it's definitely a big adjustment for me with decorating a space because I'm so used to pulling the trigger and going, this is going to look good with this. And now I have to
Right.
consider someone else's opinion. Did you ever experience that with a partner? Or did they just plan out what everything was going to look like? Or,
Well, with Amy when we moved in, no, I had my office and that was my space. And I basically was like, you can do whatever you want with the rest of the house because I honestly don't care. I didn't care. But then anybody else that ever moved in with me at my place was my space. And I remember actually, Tinkerbell's a good example. One thing she was like, I kind of want my own space. And I was like, well, I'll make the living room, like, I'll give you a whole section of that you can just do whatever you want with if that's what you'd like, And that was something we had talked about. But The only time that ever actually came up with Amy and I was when we were planning our wedding, which is that she assumed I wasn't going to care about any of this stuff. But like we're talking about
Yeah.
colors and I'm like, no, I don't like that color. Like she's like, why do you care? And I was like, because I do. Or the flowers. Like I was putting active input into some of these things that she didn't expect me to care about.
Right.
But then when we bought the house in Florida, when we moved, we did go through paints and like together because she wanted, me to have a say in it. And I was like, well, I prove, I would when she came up with choices, I would give my opinion, but in the end, I would be like, whatever you are comfortable with and happy with, that's what matters.
Yeah, see, I don't think so. She was, at the end of the day, the final decision maker, where I don't think, in my
Uh,
situation anyways, we're both the final. There
right,
is
right.
no one person. It's a collaborative effort, which is a
I,
change.
I think the only thing that I said was, I don't care about anything else. I just want a comfortable couch. So I get to test the couch as long as it looks nice enough for you. It has to be comfortable. I don't want some modern piece of shit that like is uncomfortable to sit on. I want a couch that I can sit on and enjoy watching TV. Like that's important to me. And so that was like that was it. But yeah, you guys have but and the thing is, you're initially decorating, and then if you find new pieces you bring home, that you find something you like, you can hang it up and see if he even notices. That's what I
Well,
would
that's what
try.
my coworkers are saying. They're like, just wait a couple months and then just bring something in and see whatever. But I think that's an important thing to bring up when you're moving in. Of, do you really care what the space looks like? Obviously, you'll care to a certain degree, but do you want to be very involved in this process?
Right.
Do you want me to be the one who calls the shots? I mean, everything in this whole episode is going to boil down to just having a conversation about it.
Oh,
But
communication.
another fucking episode about communication. But with all the pieces that you're bringing in, so for Master of None and I, we have two of fucking everything.
Right.
So now it's, what do we do with these two of everything in the designing aspect of the home? What stays and what goes? And do you throw stuff away?
You sell the stuff that you don't use or throw
Do
it away.
you
Yeah.
though? See,
Yes.
I disagree with that
Yes.
because, like I've mentioned, I'm a fucking planner and I have a backup. Like, if the bad side of the relationship comes to fruition and we
Right.
break up, if I sell all of my shit or throw away all of my shit that is not as superior as his shit, I'm left high and dry at the end of the day with nothing. Because when we move out after a breakup, he goes, well, all of this shit's mine, which is true. And then I was just the one who willingly threw away my shit because I just wanted one of everything instead of two of everything.
Well, technically, you would hope that some of it would be yours and some of it would be his. If it's something where you're the one getting rid of all of your stuff, that seems like an issue, anyways. But beyond that, you can always buy new things. And here's
Yeah, but
another
that's
thing,
more money to spend.
but you don't need to buy it immediately. Like, furniture and things to hang on the wall, that can be something you acquire over time. But also, this is something to keep in mind. If the worst case scenario, you guys break up, it'll be a hell of a lot easier to move out if you don't have to move all that shit too.
You're not wrong, but I don't know. Like for me,
Like, give me an example of what type of piece we're talking about
all of
here.
my duplicates right now are kitchen. Everything I'm telling you is kitchen.
Oh no,
Surprise, surprise.
like no, keeping a box of kitchen shit like is not in storage is not a big deal. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like decorating things and stuff like that.
Well,
Like,
he wants to get a new couch down the road, and I don't disagree with that. But then I think, well, what's going to happen to the old couch that's mine? Do I somehow stuff it in my bedroom or get a storage unit or sell it or whatever, And I really don't
right.
want to get rid of it. So it's stuff like that where I'm not feeling like I want to get rid of stuff because I don't want to not have anything if things go south. Which is, I don't know if I should look at it that way, but that's how I'm looking at it, just because
Yeah.
I'd like to have some things, which is surprising because I've been on the road with literally nothing. But
And you
now that I
survive
have my
fine.
stuff back, I want it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you might have some hard decisions to make there.
Mm.
Like keeping it in case you guys break up is not a good thing, in my opinion.
I mean, you're not
That's like
wrong.
staying on Tinder just in case we break up.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's not okay. But that's the other thing is I'm not keeping it. Okay, I want to make this clear. I'm not wanting to hold on to stuff for the sole purpose of a backup plan in case we break up. But I also like some of the stuff that I have that's just not as nice as his stuff.
It doesn't have to be nice. If you like it more, then
But
say
that is
it means a lot to you to have it there. If it means a lot to you, then he's going to understand.
in a perfect world. When you look at all the counter space you don't have and the space you're going, well, something's got to go, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But I mean, you can always put some stuff in storage. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad, like I said, stuff like kitchen stuff, small things, yeah. But like the couch, when you guys get a new couch, the old one goes. That's how that works.
Okay, when you and Amy split, how did you divvy up the shit afterward? Did you just give her everything or what?
I think she said I could take whatever I wanted. And some of the stuff was like we had an Ethan Allen like dining room table that was my parents that I had gotten from them, and she didn't. I mean, she liked it, but not that much. So I was taking anything that was my parents. I took, but then she's like, yeah, take whatever you want. I'll buy whatever new stuff I need. So I took the TV and the entertainment center and all that stuff. So and then she just bought new stuff. So but that was, I think her being petty, or not petty, but be her just kind of being didn't want to talk about it. Just wanted me to take whatever. And then I was petty in the sense that we had like a table, a concrete table out in the back porch, in our backyard, a concrete fucking table that she had retiled like herself. And the woman that I had the affair with, who was at this point that already she and her husband already got back together, they were helping me move. She's like, "Fuck it, let's just take this too." So I took the concrete table. It took four of us just to carry the table top
Oh
alone.
God.
Yeah, I know, it's so dumb. And I left it at the place when I left in May. I just left it on the porch because I was like, there's no way I'm moving this anyways. But yeah, that was petty of me to do, but I was not it was bad.
Oh, Adam,
But we, we
stop.
we divided our music, so like our music collection and our movies, like we divided those, and like whatever she really wanted I would let her have. I didn't really fight her on. There's a few movies I wanted copies of, but that was about it. So yeah, it is, that part's hard, when you get to that point of trying to when you break up and you have to kind of like separating those things. That's you just have to make some decisions. But like at some point you're just like, fuck it, I don't care, they're items,
I'll
like
just
they're
buy
just
something else.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So get rid of, if when you guys buy a new couch, it'll be time to get rid of that couch.
You're right. I know. I know. That's
But
just
that's a ways down anyways, because you're not going to spend money on a new couch right now anyways. Because
I know.
number one, he doesn't have the money, and two, you're cheap. So like between the two of you, like
It's true. Yeah, I don't want to spend the money. I've just spent so much money just trips
yeah,
to Target and Home Depot that I don't want to spend
right,
money.
right. All right,
Ugh.
let's keep moving on to other things. We stuck on this one for quite a while.
Sorry. Yeah. Since we mentioned money, do you want to talk about money and the
Yeah,
dynamic of what it's like living with a partner?
yeah, that's a tough one. Money is always going to be like a point of contention, and it's always going to require communication pretty openly.
That's it? That's all you got?
But no, I want to see what you have to say about it. I'm
Oh,
sure you like.
well, I guess my question is everything split 50-50? Do you just assume so example, if one person in the relationship makes more money than the other person, how do you go about splitting rent? Is it 50-50? Is it who's ever making more money pays a little bit more in rent? I mean, that's obviously per
That's up to the
couple, you
couple.
know.
If you guys decide that, because if that's more equitable, is for the person who pays less, like who makes less, to just pay a smaller portion. Because as someone who makes more, you're able to pay more.
Right.
That's up to you. And if how you decide. I
If I just chalk everything up to it's probably going to be 50-50.
I would
Like
say, yeah, you can't get too strict about a lot of it. Like that's the thing, is if you start like if you, I feel like anytime anybody like writes and keeps an accurate tally. Oh well, you bought groceries this time, and so you bought this much in groceries, and so next time I have to make sure I spend at least X amount. Like it starts becoming this thing of just like of like it's more about numbers than your relationship. And
yeah.
I'm a strong believer that things will work out. Like it's just like, things will work out. Oh, you bought dinner this time, I'll get it next time. And if not, because you make more money and it doesn't matter, then I'll buy next time too. Like it'll all work out in the long run. It's not worth the argument in most cases, unless the exception being, now we're talking about a healthy couple who communicates well, like you two do. And Amy and I were healthy in that way. We communicated well about money and things like that. But if you have someone who never contributes in any way,
Right.
that's where it's an issue. And that's where maybe you shouldn't have moved in with them in the first place. But you need to be strict about that if they're not contributing at all.
Yeah.
And that happens. A lot of deadbeat guys that move in with women and don't want to, do anything.
Yeah, and that's if I ever feel like I'm being not taken advantage of, that's not the right phrase, but if I feel like I've been spending a lot more money on our outings or whatever, I'll say something of, dinner the other night, and this actually happened. Dinner the other night was almost $100. We had a
Yeah.
really fun night out, but can you cover the next two meals or pick up extra stuff or something like that? And it's never been an issue, but because I don't always, I don't know if you're the same. I don't always go around flaunting like, oh, the bill is this much, just so you know. So next time, it's never a tit for
Right.
tat of
Right.
dinner tonight was $30. Tomorrow it's probably going to be $45. So I'm
Right.
spending more tomorrow. And da, da, da. Like that to me screams you're kind of in an unhealthy area of your relationship that you need to get on the same terms with money. Or I don't know, I hate the idea of Venmoing down to the penny for stuff like that in a relationship where someone's going to pick up more groceries one time or someone's just going to pick up a more expensive meal another time and it will all just even out.
Yeah, like and groceries is a good example. Like if you both go grocery shopping together and then you can always split it, when you go there. But also if not, then one person goes shopping one time, the other one goes shopping the other time. It'll work out. Things like buying like furniture, like if you do buy a new couch, for example, that's when one of you buys it, the other one Venmos the other one the other half.
Right,
You
yeah.
know,
That's a big
um,
purchase versus we're
yeah,
talking $50, $60 depending on how much you're spending on
exactly.
groceries. Yeah.
And if it ever starts becoming an issue, then you start looking into it. Like, okay, well then how do we do this? Like let's figure out why it's becoming an issue and what we can do about it. I think Amy and I actually set up a second, like an extra bank account that we both put our money into. So we each had our own individual ones, and then we had a joint one when we moved in together. And so we paid all of our rent and all of our utilities and stuff out of that joint account.
Well, that
And
makes sense because you were married.
no, I mean when we were dating.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We
Oh.
just we're both signatories on it. We both just created an account, and so then just made sure there were plenty of money in there to cover. Like we each knew how much the expenses were, so we just had to put in enough to to make sure.
See, I don't know if I would do that.
I have to move. It's gonna be loud. Sorry, it's so creaky. This chair is not really that comfortable after an hour,
Everything's
and my
creaky.
balls are falling asleep right now. I just have a dead
Your
zone.
balls?
Yeah, like it just where they're sitting, like they started to. Yeah, now I have like a dead zone in my crotch right now. It's
Can you
terrible.
not?
Anyways, it's more
Oh,
comfortable now.
let's not talk about your balls. Let's
I'm
talk
getting
about
I'm getting the feeling back in my balls right now. That's good. Just give me a second. All right. Um, so yes, money. Anyways, money. Yeah, everyone's gonna be a little different. But yes, when we were dating, we had an account that we just both put money into, to make sure it covered. We knew how much the bill was, and we had the budget. Had the basically budgeted. We knew exactly what rent was, each utilities and all that stuff, and so we made sure there was money in there. And then I think groceries and stuff we just kind of alternated.
Yeah. I think that's a safe bet. I don't depending on your relationship and where you're at about the bank account thing, but
Yes. Yeah. That's just if that works for you. And there also was no such thing as Venmo back then.
that's true. I was gonna say, yeah, you guys didn't have an
We were
easier
literally
way.
writing checks. Like you had
Right.
to have, yeah. So,
Let me
so
write you a
that,
check for 1053, was it? That's how much
yeah.
you spent on? Yeah, that would be insane.
So, yeah. So now with Venmo, I don't think you need that to do that. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that the money, but that money is one thing to always keep in mind. It's going to be something you have to you have to communicate about, and communicate clearly with it. Excuse me.
Burping
I'm
and your
burping. My
balls. Oh
balls are
my
falling
god.
asleep. What is going on? I'm falling
What is
apart here.
well, not to I don't know what I was gonna say.
What were you going to say?
I was gonna say something clever about, we're talking about really boring money stuff, but let's talk about the fun stuff about moving in with someone, like all the sex you get to have, or
Okay.
maybe not because you don't feel like having sex all the time because that's not your schedule or that's not what you need.
I mean, I think that sex is one of those things that you do have this idea that you move in together. Like I feel like movies kind of or TV shows kind of romanticize this like idea of you're gonna want to have sex as soon as you move into the place. Like even when there's no furniture yet, and stuff like that. Like no, you're
That's
not
so
gonna fucking
true.
want to.
Yeah,
Oh
everything's
yeah.
so romantic. There's boxes in the corner, but I just want to fucking suck his dick. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, it's like no, I want to get unpacked. I want to have like a bed set up. I want to I want to be able to sleep tonight. I don't want to. And so, it is important, I think, to make sure that you I don't want to say schedule it, but that you're aware
Of how
if
many
you're
times you're having it a week?
that if you're not having a lot of sex, like you should be
Yeah.
aware if it's not happening a lot, and then try to address it before it becomes an issue. Which is a big part of everything, is don't ever let things build up, and that's going to be very important. If you let those little things build up, whether it's sexual frustration, whether it's an issue about money, whatever it is, it's going to end up being a problem. So you have to talk about it when you start feeling concerned about it before it becomes a big issue.
Yeah, I think I had brought up to Master of None of how much, which is a dumb question for me to ask of, how much sex would you like to have in a week? And he's like, every fucking day. I mean, what are you even talking
How
about?
much
But
sex have you had in this last week?
I think we've had sex 3 times.
I
And
mean, I think that's an average. That's a good average. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good. But he thought it was going to be a lot less just because of me trying to get settled into a routine and him on a different sleep schedule and things like that of it not lining up. But I guess I don't I don't care if he masturbates in a different room because we didn't have sex that night either. And he asked me, he's like, "Is that going to bother you?" Absolutely not. I'm going to use my toys if I feel like I want to as well. That's not to knock on you, but I know some couples might feel a different way about that, but
They shouldn't, though. That's
I
the
know they
thing. Is like
shouldn't.
that. Yeah, that's healthy. Yeah.
I'm not cheating on you with my toys. Just
Right.
because I want to masturbate doesn't mean I don't want to have sex with you. It's just I don't want to get into all of that tonight. I just want to
Yeah.
do my own thing.
Sometimes you just want to like just take care of business and not like involve somebody else. So that's okay, and that's definitely healthy, and that's something that is good. You guys are good at talking about that type of stuff too, which I think is very good. And you
Love
also
a
have
smaller load after
what?
a smaller load if he masturbates and then we have sex later. He's like, "Well, there wasn't a lot to come this time because I came earlier today." I'm like, "Good, great,
I love
wonderful."
that he talks.
We get so disgusting about
Oh my
cum
god.
and stuff with
That's
sex.
good that you guys can be disgusting about that stuff. That's a good gets a good relationship too. To talk about that stuff. But that that he's just so matter of fact about it. I just
If he
love.
says, it's been a while since I've had sex and masturbate, he's like, it's after the fact. It's never before of it's gonna be a big one, but it's always after the fact. If I'm in the bathroom peeing or something, I'm like, oh my god, all of his fucking cum is coming out of me, and he's like, yeah, it's been a while, so yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I should have warned you about that. I'm like, you didn't need to warn me, but damn,
Right. Jesus.
TMI, my bad.
Oh no, no. Is there such a thing on our podcast? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Um. So, well, and you guys have separate bedrooms.
Right.
So, like, you each have a bed in each room too.
You have
So,
a
like,
bed in each
so if
room.
he stays out late, stays up late playing like video games or whatever, you could just sleep in there. But do you also sleep together too?
We have, and that's the thing too. His room got set up after mine to the point where he wanted to sleep in his bed. So he was the first couple nights sleeping in my room. And then because he's been waking up early to go to work at like 5 in the morning, he doesn't want to wake me up. So I
Right.
think on the weekends we'll probably we'll sleep in the same room, but on weeknights when we're on different sleep schedules, we're separate.
Is it always your room?
So far, it has been. I mean, we've had sex in both rooms. I was like, we've broken in each room, yay. But
Oh,
as
that's
far as actually sleeping, I mean, we
yeah.
napped in his room today, but I haven't slept in his bed.
This is more, but your room is more of the
I
sex bed.
just,
There, I mean, the sleep. I'm sorry, the sleeping bed is
I feel like a
like
princess, the princess and the pea once again. I don't know. I feel like my setup is superior, but he doesn't like
yeah.
that I have a comforter and all this other I have heavier blankets and stuff where he just has a top sheet and then like a thinner blanket. And
That's
I
it.
Yeah, he doesn't have all of the fixins for the bed where I have
Right.
a blanket and a comforter and I don't have a top sheet though. And he's like, "Why don't you fucking
Wait.
have I don't have like the thin little
Wait.
sheet
You don't. Okay, that's weird.
because I don't like it. I just don't
It
like it.
comes with every like sheet set.
It's
It's
in
a
my closet somewhere. I just don't like it. I just think that's one extra layer. I like my thicker velvety one and then my comforter
oh,
and then I
that's
have another
weird.
blanket where he's like, "These are too many blankets. Why don't you just have a top sheet?" So we have different things that we like too. So if I sleep in his bed, I'm like, I gotta grab my blankets and stuff. So and he's like, I'm gonna sweat my ass off in your bed. So we have our own likings in with our
That's
sleep.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Amy and I basically, all I need is a top sheet usually, unless it's cold. which it's never cold enough for me, especially in Florida. And Amy had, she liked the top sheet, and then she had the blanket, and then the comforter, all on top. And so I would
Just
usually
throw
just end
that
up,
shit off on your
yeah,
side.
it usually, yeah, just so it would usually just be the top sheet for me. But yeah, so we had to figure that out. But I think having separate bedrooms is something that couples should really consider,
That'd be nice.
because everyone has different sleep patterns, and if and there's nothing wrong with sleeping alone. I mean, if you want to sleep with somebody, you can, but if you also want to just like stretch out and go to sleep, and you're not, you just want to get a good night's sleep, and you don't like all of this, you don't want to bother somebody else when you wake up and all those things, there's plenty of reasons to do that. And of course, separate bathrooms is another smart thing to do too, just because you're each have your own space. Personal space is still important in a relationship.
Well, I don't feel bad shutting the door in my bedroom and just browsing the internet, and that's my me time, and he has that in his room too. Where I
Hmm.
think if we just had one bedroom, I don't know, I wouldn't feel forced to hang out with him all the time, but I just want to make sure at the end of the day we're still two separate people who do our own thing. I don't want it to be like, well, if you're cooking dinner, do I have to have dinner with you? Or if you're going to sleep, do I have to go to sleep with you? Are you offended or whatever? And we've had those talks already, but I think that's really a good point to iron out with a partner that you're about to live with of, will you care if I don't go to sleep at the same time as you? Will you care if I wake you up if my schedule's different? If you do care about that, then maybe we should consider two bedrooms if that fits our
Right.
budget. Or I mean, it kind of all spirals into like, well, then can we afford it? Well, then what's this? And but you have to talk about that. You can't just assume, well, they'll sleep the way that I sleep. Everybody's different. There's no fucking way that's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, that's very true, and I think it is nice to when, like, I mean, Amy and I, like, she never even noticed my snoring by the time we were, like, dating for a while. She just was fine with it, and she would sleep like the dead, and then I would sleep, but then I ended up having the night terrors for a while,
Oh God.
where I would wake up and I would see like a giant spider, like a giant like mechanical spider, like and I would know it's not real, but I would see it like crawling on her face, and I would really want to like kill it. And so but I had to stop myself from slapping her in the face, and
What
everything.
the
Yeah,
fuck?
because I saw a spider, like, and I like there were times, and so like my night
God.
terrors, when and which went away when I got divorced, by the way, weirdly. But
That is
like
so odd.
I would jump out of bed sometimes, or like, or she'd have to like she'd wake up and I'd be sitting up there talking, like just having a conversation and things like that. So that it was, in some ways, it was like nice having someone sleeping there, because like she was able to say, "Hey, you did this, by the way. This has happened in the middle of the night." Whereas when you're by yourself, it's not, nobody's around to see it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That wasn't an issue for you though, but
Yeah, no, yeah, it never became an issue. But I enjoyed sleeping with her, and for years after we got divorced, I only slept on the same side of the bed and never stretched over. And I think it took, I mean, I've been divorced for 11 years now. I think it took probably 5, maybe 6 years before I started sleeping in the middle of the bed and like enjoying the entire bed. And that was like, it took me that
wow.
long to get to that point. And now I never want to share a bed with anybody again. I'm like, fuck that. No, you can sleep on another bed. If I
Well, you're
ever
gonna
live with
have
anybody
to
again,
in
separate
your space.
bedrooms. Yeah. Separate bedrooms, separate houses. That's how we're gonna live together. Just
We'll all be
separate
in the
homes.
cul-de-sac together. It's fine.
There we
Just
go.
come on over. Yeah.
We can share a kitchen. It can be like a a conjoined twin, where it's just like just the kitchen together and then two separate houses. That'd be great.
Mm.
Um,
As far as living with a partner, what other important elements should we touch on?
I think that one thing you mentioned, but I just want to reiterate, is to make sure you do set aside your personal time and space, but also, more importantly, don't get offended or take it personally when the other person needs space and time, because it can be easy for you to think to yourself, "Oh, I want to do this," but then like someone else like shuts their door or was like, "Hey, I don't want to, like, I'm just going to go in my room for a little bit," and it can be, but if you had your expectations on something, it can be easy to get your feelings hurt. So it's very important to also remember that the other person needs their personal space too. So I would say that that's something to keep in mind. Of course, money we talked about. I think, yeah, it's okay that, like, people used to say, never go to bed angry. I don't agree with that. I think it's okay if you guys get in a fight to go to bed angry, as long as you learn to communicate quickly and you don't do things like the silent treatment, which I would rename the Sarah treatment, or
It's
But
only
that,
for about a day. Chill. Fucking chill. Okay, for you it's longer, but
yeah, I'm just saying. But that learning to be able to talk about it as, and actually sit down even though you don't want to, is very important because then that'll actually fester and get worse and worse when you live with somebody too.
yeah. Well, I have no problem with going to bed angry if you're having those smaller conversations along the way of, hey, that happened last night. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it all comes down to surprise, surprise, communication once again of
yeah,
if you're having a small problem early on, like for example, me in the kitchen not feeling valued or whatever, if I don't say anything now, in a couple months, it'll be a bigger fight.
oh, I
So
know.
I know I have to say something now. If
Yeah,
if your partner is fucking up your laundry or you don't like how they're doing certain things or you're having a personal issue about personal space and you need to discuss it, do it early because
yeah.
it's only going to get worse.
Yep. And I would say that maybe the thing to keep in mind about moving in with somebody is to realize that you may not know your significant other like you think you do until you actually live with them. Until you like get to experience their daily habits and all their routines that they do that you never knew about and all their little idiosyncrasies. You may discover that they're an entirely different person. You might develop new pet peeves that you never even knew you had. And so then the new question is, can you handle this? Can you handle this new knowledge of this person and continue this relationship? So that's important to before you ever move in with somebody and while you're living with somebody to be aware that your perception of that person might change as you get to know them better, and it can change for the better or the worse.
Yeah, which I think it's valuable to take a test drive of living with them for a longer period of time before you sign a 12 or 13-month lease. You go, well, at least
Who the fuck signs a 13-month lease?
and that's what we signed.
Wait, really? They do a year and a month? That's
They
weird.
do there's 13, 14,
Oh,
15.
okay.
Yeah, there's it
Yeah.
helps decrease the price because things are expensive. Like if you, I don't know,
Interesting. No, I'd
the
never
longer
heard of
you
that.
sign.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but before you sign any amount of a lease
Yeah.
with somebody, I think it's best to test drive it and just also keep in mind if you haven't spent a lot of FaceTime with them at their place or them at your place, you're really only getting the highlights of who they are out in public.
Right.
And I think that that's a very important point to drive home of if you haven't had that alone time enough, you're going to be set up to be disappointed when you see them every single day because they're not going to be funny all the time or witty or looking their best all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes. Yes.
You have to
Especially if
get
they're one
over
of
that.
those people who like, you've only seen them with like they get ready to like with their going out face and you've never seen them just their normal everyday face. And if you're gonna be shocked by that, you should probably grow up. But
That
but
too.
it's yeah. But yeah, you find out a lot about people when you live with them.
hmm Would you live with someone in the future in your shack in Vermont?
My suicide shack. Well, the thing is, it's funny having the house with people renting. It wasn't renting like in a, they were more like friendly. Like everybody shared
Yeah.
everything and all that, and so you got to know people pretty well. And I thought it was fine because we each had our own space and everyone could kind of go away to wherever they needed. But then we got together when we needed. So I wouldn't mind that. I could totally live with somebody if we had separate bedrooms and bathrooms. Is really all I would need. I just need my own space to go chill and do what I want to do.
Yeah, I see obviously no shame in having two separate bedrooms. At
Yeah.
first, I was like, well, we could save money if it's a one bedroom. But like I've mentioned before, my grandparents were married over 50 years, and my grandfather had the side bedroom, and my grandmother had the master bedroom. And I'm sure they
Yeah.
just fucked it. And I
Well,
don't want to think about my grandparents having sex, but yeah, I'm sure they just fucked in the master bedroom because he just had a twin bed in his room. It was just a smaller, for some period of time, it was just like the smaller room because he snored and she couldn't handle it. So it worked for their sleep schedule and they stayed married. So
good.
it's
Yeah.
different for everybody.
I am so glad that we ended the episode talking about your grandparents fucking each
Oh
other.
my God. No, I can't get the visual out
Talk
of my
about your
head.
grandparents
No,
boning. Just
grandma,
imagine
no.
that. No, grandma, no. No, I bet grandma was saying yes.
Stop.
What was your grandfather's name?
No, I'm not telling you that. No, Dawn.
Just imagine your grandma saying yes, Dawn.
Uh,
Oh, that's great. The coming of dawn.
Shut up.
Dawn comes once a day. I love this.
This is what I asked for.
Yeah, I'll say you brought this upon yourself. Well, I think we definitely touched on this topic enough. If you have are you thinking of moving in with somebody? Do you want our advice on whether or not you should move in with someone or run the other direction? You can always ask us. You can email us at datingkindasuckspodcast@gmail.com.
You can also DM us on our Instagram at Dating Kinda Sucks, or like Adam's mentioned before, because we did answer advice from a TikToker. You can follow Adam on TikTok at Adam Heavitable, or myself on TikTok at simply Sarah G _.
You can always post in the group as well. Our Facebook group is thriving and keeps growing with new members every day. And that's at facebook.com/groups/DKS podcast. And you can get more advice than just from us, but from everybody in the group. And I would say maybe, at least 25% of them have good advice.
25. That's a good fucking.
Maybe all of them. I'm just saying, there's some that just give fucking awful advice. And I'm just like, why are you in this group? But that's only, that's just me.
Well, if you would actually want to take it a step further from our Facebook group and get more exclusive content from both Adam and I, you can join us at patreon.com/DKS podcast. We do a little mini recording after each episode to kind of digest each topic, and we have fun things going on there. For as little as $5 a month, you can become a member.
Yeah. And with that, we are going to be doing another couple more episodes before we take a winter break, so you'll have a few more episodes before the end of the year.
God, we're planning so soon already. I'm like,
well,
damn, is October over? I guess we're almost halfway
mid-October. Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
By the time this episode comes out, it'll already be mid-October. And but we will be back in 2 more weeks, ideally, as long as nothing happens.
My shit's unpacked, so we're good
right.
now. I have a closet, I have a space. We're normal now.
I should be okay to record as well. So yeah, 2 more weeks we'll be back with a brand new episode.
Until next time.
Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we give no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are 2 of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers they pluck. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.